Hi, I'm Luke from Gowrings Mobility, and today we're here to show you our Vauxhall Movano. What we're going to be doing is showing you how to safely load and unload a wheelchair user into the vehicle. Let's get her open. So now we want to release the second barn door. It's via a black catch on the inside, one quick pull, and then it releases the door to open. Now that we've got the barn doors open, what we want to do is start operating the lift. It's at this point to mention that the doors on either side are double hinged, so it allows a bit more space if indeed you need so. Just lean in, move the door, and it folds out like so. Now it's a bit windy today, so I want to just put it back into its lock position, just in case it comes out. So before operating the lift, you want to turn on the isolator switch, just here on the driver's side panel. As you can see, the lift has a remote via a magnet and a cord. So you can just simply pull that out and give yourself some space and some distance. It's a simple on-off switch. Flick it on and we have 4 buttons: deploy, down, up and stow. So what we want to do is deploy the lift. So I'm just going to give myself a bit more space. Press the deploy button down. As you can see, it comes down at a gentle pace. Locks into position. And then we want to press the down button. Again, it will come down at a nice pace and settle itself on the floor. Now we're at the point where we want to load the wheelchair user onto the lift and then safely into the vehicle. As you can see, I've got a small manual chair here, so you simply walk it on. Now depending on the size of the chair, this one is a small manual chair, I can fit on the back of it. It does and can operate larger wheelchairs depending on the weight. You might not be able to stand where I am now. We then put the brakes on, and now we're safe to load. Now that we're safely locked into position, I now want to press the next button on the sequence, which is up. And up we go. Now that the lift's deployed, we want to remove the brake and safely wheel the wheelchair user into the vehicle. Now we're in the vehicle, we're going to put the wheelchair into one of the safe positions. It has either a near side front, off side front, or the rear position. Once we're comfortable where the wheelchair's spaced, we put the brake on, and then we get the belts to attach it to the floor for safety purposes. Now we can have the box that we've had here, or indeed the tracking at the back. That's an option for yourselves. The front belts look like this. They're an unwind system, 4 belts, 2 at the front, 2 at the back, and a seat belt to the side. So I'll just come around and attach the front belt position. Clicks into the flooring, into place. Release the Velcro and the tongue and buckle. Give the slack around the anchor point of the wheelchair, back into position, and tighten to ensure its safety. You can fold that back over to make it nice and neat. You mirror that on the other side of the chair, and then we'll go back to the rear retractors. Now that we have the front 2 belts, we need to attach the 2 rear belts. Again, via the storage box, all the tracking, we have the 2 rear retractors. We need to put them along in the tracking, find a position that you're happy with, move the retractor to the side, put the plunger down and line it up in the tracking. Once you're happy with that, you then move the retractor back into position, press the yellow button to allow the slack of the belt. Now this is via a tongue and buckle. You press the button, it feeds round into the loop, back into the seatbelt mechanism, like so. And then when you want to tighten it, it comes with a reel to the side and you just reel it back in. The idea is that it's going to be tension between the 2 sets of belts. I'm happy with that one. And then you put one on the other side and mirror where it is in the position in the tracking. Now that we have all 4 belts secured, it's worth mentioning that they can be used on a variety of chairs against the length of the tracking to allow greater flexibility. Last thing to do is to put the lap and diagonal seat belt on. So we move the seat belt over the wheelchair user and into the rear seat belt point. And then we feed the seat belt back round over the top and into the second seat belt point. This recreates a lap and diagonal seat belt from a standard car. Now that we have the wheelchair user safely secured in the vehicle, we just have to put away the lift so it's safe to be transported. Over to the remote again, and press the last button that we haven't used, which is stow. Once that's stowed away safely, press the off switch and put it back to its magnetic point. Close the barn doors. And you're ready to go. You've now arrived at your destination, so we've just got to unload the wheelchair user safely using the lift as we've shown you already. Open the barn doors, click into place, open the second door, take the controller for the lift, flick the on switch and simply press deploy. We're now ready to wheel the wheelchair user out onto the lift and then safely get them down onto the ground. So we now want to remove the belt system that we've already put in place, so we just do the same process, just in reverse. First button is the seatbelt button. That releases this seatbelt. We need to feed it back round the wheelchair user's lap. To press the second seatbelt button to release the belt in its entirety. Lift it over the wheelchair user and safely store it in the back here. We now want to remove the rear belts. So we go back down to the floor, press the button to release the tongue and buckle, put it back in its housing, move the retractor to the side and lift the yellow plunger. Remove it from its tracking point to lift them out fully and put them back in the storage box. Do the same with the other side. Press the button, release the housing, back into itself, move the rear retractor, lift the yellow plunger and take it out of its tracking. And again, back in the storage box. Lastly, we want to remove the front belts. So again, the same as the rears, we move over, press the button, release the belt from its housing, back through, into place, lift the yellow plunger and take them off its tracking. Put them back into the storage box and do the same with the other side. And again back into the storage box for safety. So we just need to remove the brakes from the wheelchair user and then we wheel them back through the vehicle onto the tail lift to safely get them out of the vehicle. Grab the remote on my way out, wheel them onto the lift. Once I'm in a safe position, put the brakes back on again and then press down. Once we're safely down to the ground, put the remote back onto the ramp, remove the brakes and safely wheel the wheelchair user off. Now that the wheelchair user is safely unloaded from the vehicle, we just need to put away the lift. So we go back to the remote, press the up switch, and finally the stow. Once that's clicked into position, turn the buttons off, put it onto its magnetic point and close the barn doors. So now that the wheelchair user is safely taken away from the vehicle and the tail lift, just turn the switch back off again. The vehicle does come with some additional options. I'd like to talk you through them now. Firstly is our tip and turn seat. At the moment it's in place. Simply to move it into position, pull the tag, release the pin, turn it round, it clicks into place, release the catch, and then you have the arm. Now these can be used in position whilst 3 wheelchair users are in the vehicle for 2 carers or escorts where needed. Depending on the seating configuration, you can have removable rear seats. This is an example of one here. You can release them via the pins at the bottom. Move the pin up, grab the red handle and pull back. Do so on the other side. The seat is then able to come out of its tracking and be moved anywhere in the vehicle or removed entirely. Once you're ready to put it back into position, line it back up into the tracking, and you can simply use your foot to push the red handles back into position. So another feature of our vehicle is a full-length electrical sidestep. Similarly like the lift, to operate the sidestep, simply press the rocker switch situated here in the vehicle. Simply open the door, comes out automatically. Similarly, when it's time to close the door, close it and it goes away. Once you're ready for the sidestep to be safely deployed back in, just again, like the lift, turn it off. The Vauxhall Movano is only available in diesel. When it comes to refuelling, is to open the door, pull down to the side of the flap, twist the cap for a release to fuel. Once it's filled, put the cap back in, twist it back into place, close the flap and shut the door. The Vauxhall Movano is available in a Euro 6.2 engine, so therefore it comes with Adblue that you need to add into the fuel system to ensure that it burns efficiently. You can locate it by doing the same thing on the driver's side. Open the door, lift down the flap, and there's the Adblue tank. Once you're done filling it again, put the cap back on, close the flap and close the door.